Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Greetings and salutations. You are tuning into the Kevin Jackson Show. My name is Brett Segal, the Disgruntled Millennial, broadcasting to you live from my safe space down here in northern Florida, where I'm always free from your bigotry, racism, hatred, microaggressions, and your patriarchy. We've got a lot to talk about today, so we are going to jump right in, but there is a little bit of admin that I have to do before we kick off the show, and that is to explain why I haven't been here for a few months. It's been a couple months since I have joined the show for a Friday. I usually do every Friday, and for the last couple months, you might have noticed that I have not been here. Well, that was because I made a little snafu on one of the shows in November, on one of the Friday shows in November. What ended up happening was that I ended up playing, and we do a lot of comedy here, you know, but we try to keep it PG-13. And sometimes my comedy ideas get a little bit libertine, I guess you might want to say. My comedy ideas get a little bit graphic. And sometimes I get carried away. Sometimes I do some comedy ideas and I just have to put, I'm a millennial, I'm a young kid. I just have to put in some curse words. And that's for my show, the show that goes on iTunes, the show that goes out on the internet that isn't regulated by the FCC, the big government bureaucracy that basically tells everyone who can join the airwaves and what you can say on the air. And I basically made a very, very big faux pas, a big no-no. It was actually sort of a newbie no-no. I dropped an F-bomb on the air, and I was paying the price for it over the last couple months. I've been on probation, and I just wanted to extend my deepest apologies to any of the people who might have heard that, any of the people who might have heard what I had said. I'm not going to repeat what I said or the context. Let's just say that it couldn't have gotten much worse. It couldn't have been a bigger mistake. And it wasn't just like F, what the F? It was way more graphic than that. So I just wanted to extend my apologies to anyone who might have been at the radio station, who might have been surprised by this strange guy subbing in on the Kevin Jackson Radio Show, who seems to be a little bit loose-lipped, and that would be me. And unfortunately, we are told what to do by these big government bureaucracies. The FCC has sort of a sordid history of ever-increasing and ever-growing power. The FCC started out as just a way to basically give people the license to get on the air. And before the FCC was involved in TV and radio, well, they were just involved in the radio because TV hadn't really been invented yet. But the government decided that it was their place to give licenses to people. So, I guess the government owns the air. Government owns the air. You see, government always wants to get bigger. Now, the folks at the FCC, the way they started out was, well, we're just going to give them a license. We're not going to regulate anything. We're not going to really do much. But that is not how government bureaucracies work. Government bureaucracies always grow themselves. The people who work in these government bureaucracies are not going to sit here and vote themselves out of power. They're not going to vote themselves less power. So eventually, the FCC began to take over the airwaves, not just the radio waves, but also the TV waves. And then they started in with all the regulations. They tried to tell you what you can and you can't say. Otherwise, they will fine you, and they can legally fine you. And what I did was definitely a finable offense. And as sorry and as apologetic as I am, what I did was not that terrible when you really think about the grand scheme of things. When you think about ISIS rolling around chopping people's heads off, when you think about Harvey Weinstein with Uma Thurman and all the ladies that became starlets just because they landed up on the casting couch with Harvey Weinstein, when you think about Matt Lauer and the button under his desk to lock women in his office, when you think about all that, when you think about all the terrible things going on in the world, it's really, really hard to summon the rage for someone who just drops an F-bomb on the air. It's really hard to summon the rage. And I understand that a lot of you folks are probably thinking, why is this guy even apologizing? Why is this guy apologizing for dropping an F-bomb? I just dropped an F-bomb a little while ago, but I didn't do it on the air. Okay? Well, you can say it here, but you can't say it there. How does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. It only makes sense insofar as the government wants to keep and retain more and more power. That there aren't offensive things to say. There are a lot of offensive things to say, and you don't even have to cuss in order to do it. For example, I just heard the other day that all white people should be killed. I just heard the other day that we need a white genocide. There's no cuss words in that statement, but that's pretty offensive, wouldn't you say? Now, what if I say, I effing love President Trump? Is that a horrible thing to say? I mean, I guess it depends on which side of the aisle you land on. But if I say, I effing love President Trump, I mean, the context of the F word has a different meaning. It's just a qualifier. I'm just saying that I really, really, really love Trump. I effing love Trump. Now, what's so wrong with that? I always love it when these television stations play these R-rated movies and then they bleep out the bad word. They bleep out the bad word. They go beep, 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 beep. And they basically implant the bad word into your head. If they didn't want, what could the possible point of trying to censor bad words from being on the radio or on television be? Because if you put the show on there and you add a beep there, you're basically incepting bad words into people's heads. It's like when Trump allegedly called Haiti a bleep hole. A bleep hole. Well, of course, CNN, the big mainstream media companies, they get to go on there and violate FCC rules and regulations and social mores all the time. Well, because it's President Trump, they go out there and they actually say the word bleep hole. I'm not going to say it here now because I don't want to get in more trouble. But the big companies, they don't mind going out there and saying bleep hole because, well, they can afford to. If the FCC comes after them, they can afford to pay whatever fine. I unfortunately cannot. The fine is the same for me and for CNN. But the bleep is an empty gesture. It's an empty gesture because we all know what words we're talking about when we hear the beep. When we hear beep wad or beep head or shut your beeping mouth or whatever it happens to be, the word is being incepted into your head. They're implying the word. They're basically condoning its usage, even if they beep it out. And the media reaction with the faux outrage and all pretending that Trump is this awful, terrible guy because he said bleep hole is just proof positive that they don't really care about the real evils going on in the world. But they want to talk about cuss words.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanYourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.